Hello, College of the Desert students. Wendy Ansley here, kinesiology professor. We have a well-rounded flow. And as always, I have my props nearby, my blocks, a strap. I even have a blanket for the plow posture later. I'm near a wall because we're going to explore a posture on a wall. The theme for our flow today is becoming the hero of your own life story. And I've been practicing this flow for about 4 or 5 weeks, guys, so I'm excited to share it with you. With that, we're going to dive into the warrior postures, warrior 1, warrior 2, and warrior 3. Also known as Virabhadrasana 1, 2, and 3. In Sanskrit, Vira means hero. When we explore these standing postures in yoga, they are empowering. They touch on your balance, your strength, and your stamina. They're often explored in many yoga classes. Just want to share with you guys that the yoga practice itself is a hero's journey that leads you to the center of yourself. The spiritual journey happens in the inner body. Often in life, we're going to face personal struggles and obstacles. And with that, we want to become kind of victorious and find purpose and meaning. Becoming the hero of your own life story, there may be a time in your life where you take a stand and you fight for areas of social justice or someone that could use you to stand by them, right? And perhaps there's warriors that are even known as, prayer warriors or kindness warriors, where they're sharing kindness and love and intention with their friends and their families. So here we are, we're gonna just dive in and explore the warriors. Let's start in Tadasana towards the edge of the mat. That might look different for each person. You can either have your feet hip width apart, you can have your feet together. I like to have a little space for my heels. One thing for certain is we want to awaken those arches and spread those toes and gather the energy from the ground. Padabandha. Let's start off with 2 cleansing breaths. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale through the mouth. A little dynamic exploration here of some partial sun salutations. Inhale, gather that energy up, upward salute. Either can keep your hands shoulder width apart or draw those palms together. Exhale, we're gonna swan dive down to a little dynamic forward fold, hands under the shoulders. We're gonna heel and toe, beautiful. Good, that dynamic expression allows us to kind of lubricate those joints as we're warming up here. Inhale, come into a halfway lift, whether that's the hands to the shins, the thighs, or the ground, and possibly we even have our blocks out here helping us. Exhale, come into a little forward fold. Try to stack those hips over the knees and the ankles and come a little bit more to the midfoot. Gently bend the knees, swan dive up, upward salute. Exhale, hands heart centered. Let's explore a little lateral flexion of the spine here. Inhale, draw those arms up and clasp around that right wrist and exaggerate that right hip to the side. Either can gaze kind of off to the side or gaze up. So good to move your spine like this. Inhale and rise, release. Inhale, gather that left arm up, clasp that left wrist. I like to take my thumb and index together. We call that the yoga seal of knowledge here. Exaggerate that left hip to the side, gaze off to the side, or maybe gaze up at that top arm. Feel that release of the left side body. Inhale and rise. Gently release. Inhale, upward salute. Draw length in the spine. Gaze up and look up. Exhale, swan dive down into our forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. On the exhale, we're going to frame the feet and we're stepping back to our Phalakasana, building core strength. I like to do a little dynamic sometimes and rock forward and back, forward and back. Again, I'm engaging my legs. I'm drawing the belly towards the spine, engaging the shoulders. Let's do a few scapular push-ups. We're going to keep those arms straight here. Push away on the inhale. Let's draw the belly to the spine. Dome the upper back. Feel the shoulder blades move away from the spine. On the exhale, keep the belly engaged, but lower the belly just a bit. Oh, it's almost kind of like you're dumping into the shoulders. Feel the shoulder blades come towards the spine. This is so good for strength. Inhale, push away. Exaggerate the shoulder blades moving away from the spine here. Exhale, lower the belly just a bit, but keep the belly engaged. Draw the shoulder blades towards the spine. Again, two more. Push away. Dome the upper back. Shoulder blades move away from the spine. Exhale, gently lower. Good. One more. Push away. Dome that upper back. Good. Gently lower. Shoulder blades come towards the spine. Gently lower to the knees. We're going to explore knees, chest, and chin, Ashtanga Pranam. Let's lead with the chest a little bit. Elbows are going to be close to the sides, a little spinal mobility here. Shoulder blades rooted against the back. Feel the tailbone out and back. Stay here several breaths. Ashtanga Pranam. Surrender your worries. Gently send those legs back. Feet hip width apart, easy cobra. Hands by the center of the ribs. Inhale. Draw those shoulders away from the ears. Press through the tops of the feet, knees off of the ground, shoulders away from those ears. Good. On the exhale, lead with those hips. Find your way into Adho Mukha, downward dog. Maybe adjust those palms a little bit, shoulder width apart. Feet about hip width apart, head in line with those arms. Spread those fingers, and as we press through the palms, root a little bit more with the index fingers, the inner edges of the hands. Draw length in the spine. Engage those quadriceps, so lift those kneecaps to release those hamstrings. Stay here several breaths. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose, calming the mind. On the transition gaze between the hands, we're going to walk it forward. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. Exhale, come into our forward fold. Again, try to stack those hips over those knees and the ankles. Release the back side of the body. Gently bend the knees, one leg up. Upward salute. Exhale, hands heart-centered, beautiful. Cleansing breath together, guys. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Little dynamic exploration again. Inhale, draw those arms up, upward salute. Lift the lower ribs away from the pelvis. Draw the belly towards the spine. Pada Bandha in the feet and active legs. Exhale, we're going to swan dive down, hands under the shoulders to do a little heel and toe. Heel and toe, good. Inhale, halfway lift, either hands to the shins, the thighs, the blocks, or the ground. Feel the tailbone come out and back, gaze forward and down. Exhale, come into a little forward fold. Try to keep that neck long and just use the breath to feel that release of the backside body. Gently bend the knees, swan dive up, upward salute. Exhale, hands heart-centered. Inhale, gather that energy up, upward salute. Clasp that right wrist. I like to take my thumb and index finger together, the yoga seal of knowledge here. Exaggerate that right hip to the side, gaze off to the side or gaze up. Little lateral stretch of the spine here. Inhale and rise. So good for the spine. Gently release. On the inhale, draw those arms up. Clasp that left wrist. Exaggerate that left hip to the side. Feel that release of the left side body. Either gaze off to the side here or gaze up. Gently release. Let's keep challenging ourselves here, guys. Inhale, gather that energy up. Movement to preserve the body and build strength. Exhale, swan dive down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Framing the feet, we're going to step back to the plank. We're going to explore this little dynamic coming forward on the balls of the feet. Send those heels back. Come forward and back. Come forward and back. And let's do a little scapular push-ups. Again, this is about protecting the shoulder joint and actually strengthening the scapular stabilizers near those wing bones of your shoulder blades here. On the inhale, push away. Dome the upper back. Draw the belly towards the spine. Feel the shoulder blades move away. On the exhale, lower the belly. Almost kind of keep those arms straight, but dump into the shoulder. Shoulder blades come towards the spine. Good. Inhale, push away. Shoulder blades move away from the spine. Exhale, gently lower. Shoulder blades come towards the spine. Come on, let's push away. Dome that upper back. Exaggerate, exaggerate. Exhale, gently lower. Shoulder blades come towards the spine. Again, push away. Shoulder blades move away towards the spine. Exhale, gently lower. Way to explore scapula push-ups, guys. Lower to the knees. Ashtanga Pranam. Again, let's lead with the chest and the chin. Try to get the chest and the chin towards the ground. Elbows close to the side. Shoulder blades rooted against the back ribs. Most of us will stay here. Some of us might add a shoulder opener. Picking up the feet, taking the hands to the base of the spine, interlacing those fingers, drawing the wrists away from the elbows, elbows away from the shoulders, opening the shoulders. Ashtanga Pranam and a shoulder opener. Easy cobra, gently release, hands by the sides, send those legs back, feet hip width apart. Press through the tops of the feet, hands by the center ribs. Knees off of the ground, draw the shoulders away from those ears. Gaze forward and down. Exhale, lead with those hips. Find your way into Adho Mukha, downward facing dog. Let's adjust ourselves just a bit. Good. Hands shoulder width apart. Feet hip width apart. Draw length in the spine. Engage those quadriceps. Release those hamstrings. Kind of feel the spine moving in two directions in here. As you push into the ground, almost energy towards the hands. And as you lower the heels towards the ground, a release of those hamstrings. Preparing for low lunge, let's stay in down dog, but feet come together. Lower the heels a little bit closer to the ground. Inhale, draw that left leg up to hip level. Left leg straight and engaged. On the exhale, draw the left knee, the chest, and the nose. Place the left foot next to the left hand. Hands to those hips. A few dynamics here, preparing for low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Inhale, gather that beautiful energy up. Feel a release of that back hip. Press to the top of the back foot, root through the four corners of the left foot. Draw length in the spine. Let's add a little back bend and a slight twist. We're going to keep that right arm up. Take the left hand to either the base of the spine or outside of the right leg. Good. Just warming up. Low lunge with a light back bend and a little twist. Use the breath to find balance. Gently release, hands to the hips. Frame the foot, come onto the ball of the back foot, back leg straight and engaged. Press into the palms, find your way into Adho Mukha, downward facing dog. Feet come together in down dog. Inhale, draw that right leg up to hip height. One-legged dog. Exhale, draw the right knee to the chest and the nose. Place the right foot next to the right hand. Lower the left knee to the ground, hands to the hips. Come 1 to 2 dynamics. Inhale, gather that energy up. Low lunge. Try to scissor those hips together and release the back hip, all while drawing length in the spine. Let's come into a back bend with a twist as we keep that left arm up. Take the right hand to the base of the spine or outside of the left leg. Gently release, hands to the hips, frame the foot. Come on to the ball of the back foot, runner's pose. Frame the foot, press into the palms, find your way back to down dog. Let's exaggerate down dog here. Let's widen the down dog. Outer edges of the feet kind of come to the outer edges of the mat so you feel those inner thighs spiraling back, all while creating length in the spine. On the transition, gaze between the hands. Let's come up to the balls of the feet and let's lead with the foot that we don't really want to lead as we walk the feet forward, just adjusting those transitions here. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Let's deepen this forward fold as we clasp those elbows and allow the entire back side of the body to be released. Gently bend the knees, swan dive up, upward salute. Hands heart-centered. Let's take a moment and set our intention for our practice. And again, our theme is becoming the hero of your own life story. And with that, I'd like you to have your hands heart-centered and lower your head to your fingertips. Becoming your own hero requires you to cultivate your strengths. Take a moment and just kind of acknowledge, reflect upon some of the strengths and the talents, as simple as they may be, that they are, or even the characteristics of your personality that you admire. Just take a moment and reflect upon those. Between cultivating talents and strengths, we believe in ourselves. Strengths over fear any day. Take a moment and just set your own personal intention for this practice today. Honoring the inner warrior inside of you as you move towards your goals and your dreams. Faith over fear. Believe in yourself. And gently look up. So we really have to kind of work on ourselves, right? That's an example of yoga. Continuing to warm up here a little bit. Let's warm up those wrists. And we're going to take that right arm, extending it straight in front of the shoulder here. Dorsiflexion of the hands. We're going to draw those 3 fingers towards us. Good. So warming up the fingers, warming up the wrists. Stay here several breaths. Gently release. Let's do the other side. Extend the arm straight out. Draw those 3 fingers towards us. Awakening those wrists and those fingers. We're going to be doing some strength areas with that. We need strong wrists, a connection there in our hands, also known as Hasta Bandha. Extending both arms straight out, dorsiflexion of the hands. Let's make a fist here and draw the fist towards us, but keep those arms straight. 2, let's do 3 more. Good. And let's circle those hands, circle those wrists. Circle them out, and now switch directions, circle them inward. Good. Gently release. A form of malasana, tippy toe malasana, and then we're going to come into a toe squat for balance and strength as we're kind of warming up those legs and preparing for our warriors. So let's get the feet together here with this one. Inhale, gather that energy up, upward salute. Gaze up and look up, lengthen the spine. Exhale, we're going to swan dive down. Hands come under the shoulders here. We're relevating up on the balls of the feet. On the exhale, we're going to gently bend those legs and draw the glutes, the butt towards the heels here. Good. Try to squeeze, kind of keep those heels from splaying out. We feel a connection here between our pinky toe to the big toe. Every toe is engaged. This is actually a beautiful posture. Try to kind of squeeze those thighs together. To explore a little bit deeper into this posture, we can walk those hands back, but try to squeeze those heels together, guys. Lowering the forehead to the knees and the chin to the chest. Feel a release of the back side of the body too as we find balance and strength, and we'll stay here several breaths. So many levels here. Let's try to challenge it a bit. Picking up our torso and hovering the hands. Well, here's balance. Try to squeeze those heels together. Even another level where we gently lower those thighs so the shins and thighs are parallel. Try to squeeze those heels together, guys. Balance and strength. Toe squat. Find your drishti and gaze, something to gaze at. Try to draw those heels together. Lengthen the spine. Strength, balance and strength. Gently lower, place the hands to the ground under the shoulders, gently lower those heels. Oh, baby. Hollow body hold for the core strength, guys. I like to use my block. If you have a block, we're going to use it. Here we are. We find our way onto our back here. We're going to glue the lower back. And now your upper back and shoulders come off of the mat. And our legs are going to be straight out. We're going to do this one 2 times. So I'm going to take my block if you have a block. If not, you'll have to improvise and just kind of pretend like you have one. Draw those arms over the head in line with those ears. Extend those legs. Glue the lower back towards the ground. Upper back and shoulders are off of the mat. Arms up by the ears, holding the blocks. Glue the lower back, legs straight and engaged. I kind of like to gaze up at my toes here. Core strength. The core is a fulcrum. We're going to hold for a while. It looks like the shape of a banana. Building strength, becoming the hero of your own life story. Gently relax. Just kind of lower to the ground here. Relax. We'll stay here several breaths. And we will repeat this again. The hollow body hold. One of my favorite drills to do before exploring little drills that lead to handstands or just drills for the handstands. Again, glue the lower back. Draw those arms up outside of the ears here. Holding the block legs straight and engage. Glue that lower back towards the ground. Gaze at the toes. Gently release. Woo, baby. Send the block down. We're rocking it out. We're going to root and rise, trying to come up from the ground without our hands and knees. If you need to place your hands on the ground and help you, you can. Try to root and rise. Cleansing breath together. Inhale. Exhale. Remembering your strengths. Finding your purpose, finding your meaning. Inhale, gather that energy up. Upward salute. Drawing length in the spine. Exhale, swan dive down. We're adding a little vinyasa here, our forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Framing the feet, step back into our Phalakasana. Plank, draw the belly towards the spine, engage the shoulders, legs straight and engaged. On the exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana, bend those elbows, draw the sternum and chest forward, shoulders in line with those elbows. Elbows close to the sides. Upward facing dog, press to the tops of the feet. Inhale, draw that pelvis forward. Broaden the collarbones, legs straight and engaged. Gaze up. We'll stay here several breaths. Exhale, come over the tops of the feet, downward facing dog. Find the breath. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, deepen this posture. Mindfully walking the feet towards those hands. We're going to shorten the dog a bit, just shorten the dog as we explore forearm taps. So with this, see how I'm kind of shifting my shoulders in front of my wrists? This is it's an amazing drill to help you with handstands. So we're drawing that right kind of femur head in, and I'm taking my right foot towards my right elbow or forearm, and then the left foot. Good. And continue. We're going to continue these forearm taps. You have to engage the core to cultivate lifting those hips. And this drill is amazing. Keep tapping the forearm. I like to kind of come into my finger pads here and just kind of bend those fingers, building strength too. Good. Keep forearm taps, awareness of the core, lifting those hips. Let's do 4 more. 2 more. So much body intelligence in yoga. Come into our forward fold. Release the back side of the body. Gently bend those knees. Swan dive up. Upward salute. Exhale, hands heart-centered. Cleansing breath. Inhale. Exhale. Those forearm taps are really challenging. I worked on them a while, and I've worked on them with a lot of students in person, and they're so challenging. So I want you guys to know you're not alone. But between the hollow body holds and drills like that, we're giving you tools to keep learning and growing, because you can step on your mat and have a well-balanced routine of balance, strength, flexibility. It's incredible. Here, I brought my mat towards the wall for Virabhadrasana 1. Energetically, I'm using my prop here. So I'm using my block against the wall. So I'm encouraging you, hopefully, to have a prop or kind of improvise here. We're going to start with warrior one. Here I've got my block and I'm placing it kind of at the bottom of below my knee here. The front foot is pointed straight ahead and the back foot is about a 45-degree angle, and it's kind of an angle enough to kind of try to get that back hip forward. I'm pressing my shin back. I'm grounding through that back heel and outer edge of the foot. Energetically, as I push that left knee against the wall here, the block against the wall, I'm trying to draw that front hip back hip forward. My torso is stacked over my hips, and now I'm going to inhale, draw those arms up. My shoulders are tight. I can keep them shoulder width apart, or I can draw the palms together. The gaze can either be straight ahead or maybe slightly up. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, deepening, sinking a little bit lower. We'll stay here several breaths. Beautiful warrior one. Gently release. I love this posture. It helps me align my hips. When my hips are aligned, gently release. Just helps me feel better. So Virabhadrasana 1 again on the right side. The block is kind of at the bottom of the kneecap, kind of the lower kneecap here. And I'm pushing against the wall. The foot is straight ahead, knee is over the ankle of the bent leg. The back foot is at an angle. It's generally heel to heel, sometimes heel to arch. And sometimes we widen that back foot to help us draw that back hip forward. Energetically pushing the right block against the wall. Feel that release of the back hip flexors. Ground through the back heel, outer edge of the foot. Draw the belly towards the spine for support. Inhale, draw those arms up. Becoming the hero of your own life story. Virabhadrasana 1. Warrior 1. This is an ancient yoga posture. Balance, strength, and empowerment. We'll stay here several breaths. Gently release. Remove the block. Good. And we've got a strap nearby if you want to use those behind us as we explore a little bit deeper. I'm going to adjust my mat. I'm going to mirror you here. So we're at the center of our mat. I'm going to mirror you here so we can kind of do this together. Let's do a cleansing breath together. Here we are in Tadasana. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Draw those hands by the chest, elbows up. Add a little bit of a hop. 5-point star. Rotate those big toes in slightly. Press outer edges of the feet. Arms out by the sides, palms towards the ground. Draw the belly towards the spine. Draw the hands to the lower back. Think about the elbows kind of coming towards one another. Broaden the collarbones. Gaze up and look up. On the exhale, gently lower. Let's place the hands under the shoulders. Draw the belly towards the spine for support. Gaze forward and down. Good. Movement specialists love to do a half squat known as Skandasana. We're going to walk those hands over here to your right foot and draw that right heel in. The right heel is lifted. We're rocking forward and back. Forward and back. Good. And that extended left leg, we're pressing outer edge of that foot. So you really feel the adductors here. Another variation now, a little bit more hamstring. We're going to adjust that left foot where the toes are up, pressing through those heels. And eventually, not everyone can do this, we're going to work at it, is you lower that right heel towards the ground. Elbow on the inside. Good. Adjust my microphone here. Elbow on the inside and draw length in the spine. Feel that release of the hamstrings. Adding a little twist and kind of a torso opener here. We're going to extend that right arm in front of the right leg and draw that left arm up, gazing up at the left hand. Many of us, we're not quite there yet. Our hands are on the ground, and that's okay. Just do you. More advanced, we have all levels in this class. Taking the left hand by the sacrum or using a strap and eventually coming into the bind. Oh, so good for the spine. Gently release, back to Skandasana, elbow on the inside. Inhale and rise, a little mobility work. Virabhadrasana 2, you're going to take the left, pivot that left foot, knee directly over the ankle. Think about the knee coming towards that pinky toe, gaze over the left hand. This is a mythic stance in yoga, Virabhadrasana 2. This is the warrior. And part of the Dharma, which means the moral code of ethics, is that good will always overcome evil. Here we are, Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2, building strength. Front leg is kind of sinking lower, parallel towards the ground. Press outer edge of that back foot. Gaze over that left hand. Feel that hip opening and the front of the pelvis broadening. Continue to draw the knee towards that pinky toe. We're kind of strengthening around the knee. Gently release, framing the foot. We're going to circle those hands down into a plank. Come into Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale and rise. Upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Stay here several breaths. Good. Drawing length in the spine, releasing those hamstrings. Powerful posture, Adho Mukha. We're going to shorten the dog. We're going to draw the feet up a couple feet here. So we're kind of gazing between the hands. We're drawing the feet up a little bit. Jackknife. So we're getting your heart rate up, guys. Okay, notice again, I'm kind of shifting forward, shoulders over the wrists. We're going to get that heart rate up. All of us have different levels, and we're just going to play around with even maybe just staying here and leaning, or bending those legs and drawing the heels towards the buttocks. Let's do several. Eventually, I like to try to get my hips over my foundation. Good. Play around. Come into our forward fold. Gently bend the knees, swan dive up. Exhale, heart centered. So those little jackknives, those little springing, get that heart rate up, and it's fun. Here we are, becoming the hero of your own life story. Come to the center of the mat. Cleansing breath together. Inhale. Exhale. Draw those hands up by the chest here, elbows up. Add a little hop. Press outer edges of the feet. Rotate those big toes in slightly. 5-point star. Hands to the lower back. Draw those elbows kind of towards one another. Broaden those collarbones. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, come forward. Hands under the shoulders. Belly towards the spine to protect the spine. Quarter turn, as I mirror you here, your left heel in, and we're rocking forward and back. For many of us, just keeping the hands on the ground helps tremendously. Again, we're opening those adductors. Eventually, taking that right heel towards the ground and drawing those toes up. I've Got some ankle mobility, so I'm lowering the left heel towards the ground, elbow inside that left knee. I'm trying to draw length in the spine, not slumping, but length in the spine. Beautiful. Taking that left arm in front of that left leg and drawing that right arm up. Good. Adding even a little another dimension, and we can keep the hands on the ground wherever we are. I've got my right hand by the sacrum. Maybe I'm using a strap here. Swimming that left arm behind it, coming into this little kind of torso twist here, this little rotation. Stay here several breaths. Gently come back to our Skandasana. Mobility work here as we root and rise back to our 5-point stance here. Pivoting that right foot, knee over the ankle, coming towards that pinky toe. Press outer edge of that back foot. The back foot is kind of parallel to the short side of the mat here. Gaze over the right hand. Feel the broadening of the pelvis here. Good. Feel that right hip opening. The torso is directly over the hips. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, sink lower into this, guys. We'll stay here several breaths. Building strength. Empowering. Circle those hands down, framing the feet. Let's add a vinyasa, Phalakasana plank. Exhale, bend those elbows, lead with the sternum and the chest, shoulder in line with the elbow, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, press to the tops of the feet. Upward facing dog, broaden those collarbones. Exhale, come over the tops of the feet. Downward facing dog. Good. Push into those palms, index fingers a little bit more to draw length in the spine. Find the breath. Inhale, exhale through the nose. Preparing for jackknives. We're gonna gaze up at the hands. We're gonna shorten our dog a couple feet here. And again, remember my shoulders were kind of leaning and coming past the wrists a little bit. Maybe we're just here playing around, but we'll do about 3 where we draw those heels towards the buttocks. Get that heart rate up. Come into a forward fold. Gently bend the knees, swan dive up. Upward salute. Exhale, hands heart centered. Beautiful. Coming to kind of about maybe the center of the mat or top third of the mat. If you have a hard time and want to use the blocks, you can utilize the blocks. I'm going to have them out just in case I want to use them for another thing coming up here. Okay. But I found a way to make Virabhadrasana 3, Warrior 3, a little bit more accessible. This is a balancing, empowering pose that takes focus, concentration. It's a great one. Okay. Here we are. Inhale, gather that energy up. Upward salute. Exhale, swan dive down. Here we are in our forward fold. We're going to draw those hands forward a little bit under the shoulders, and I kind of like to lean my shoulders forward a little bit. It helps me pitch my chest forward. Rooting through the 4 corners of the left foot and kind of coming up on the right ball of the foot. The left leg is engaged, but it's not locked straight. It's not locked, okay? Extending that right leg behind. Now notice my right leg is right in line with the pelvis. My toes are pointed down. We either can point or a little combination of a flex and a point. I call that a foint. Draw that front hip forward and down. Same thing, gaze kind of gaze ahead a little bit forward and down. Building upon balance and strength. Warrior 3. Virabhadrasana 3. Draw that back hip forward and down. It is internally rotated. We'll stay here several breaths. Gently lowering that right leg. Begin to adjust, root through the four corners of that right foot, come onto the ball of that left foot. Again, I like to have my shoulders kind of past my wrists here a little bit, and I'm on my fingertips here. Extending that left leg directly back with the hip. It's in line with the pelvis. The toes are pointing down. The back leg is straight and engaged. Kind of pitching my chest forward, taking the back hip, internally rotating it, drawing it forward and down. That's why it's so challenging. But this is accessible. Gently lower that left leg, come into a forward fold. Gently bend the knees, swan dive up. Exhale, hands heart-centered. Cleansing breath. Inhale. Exhale. Let's do a little shoulder opener here. Reverse prayer. We're going to still explore Warrior 3 here, but we're going to release the shoulders. So we're going to take that left hand and I kind of come into a little reverse prayer, draw the fingers kind of up between the shoulder blades or close to it. If we have a hard time doing this, we can simply clasp the elbows or even make like a fist bump. Now we took the right arm to meet it. This is where we broaden the collarbones. We're opening up the chest and the shoulders. We'll stay here several breaths. Try to have the palms together and the fingers together for alignment. Beautiful. Shoulder therapy, guys. Reverse prayer. Gently release. We're going to go back to this Warrior 3, Virabhadrasana 3. We can either keep our hands on the ground like before, or we can airplane those arms to the sides, palms down. Even eventually explore drawing those palms forward. So we've got 3 levels. Just do you. Building balance, strength, and stability. So cleansing breath. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, gather that energy up, upward salute. Exhale, swan dive down into our forward fold. Draw those hands forward, just directly under the shoulders. And again, I like to kind of draw my shoulders forward, lean them a bit. Starting on the left side, so we're going to kind of root through the 4 corners of that left foot, come onto the right ball of the foot. Left leg is engaged, but it's not locked straight, slight bend to it. And we can bend it to make it even easier. And again, kind of pitching those shoulders forward helps too if you want to try picking up those arms here in a bit. We're extending that right leg back, toes pointed down, right leg straight and engaged. If you want to challenge yourself, we have our airplane arms. Good. Pitching the chest forward, back hip forward and down. Even extending those arms in front. Again, maybe arms back to the sides. Pitching that chest forward, back hip forward and down. Hands under the shoulders. Just kind of reset again. Back leg straight and engaged. Back hip forward and down. Gently release. Rooting through the four corners of the right foot. Hands under the shoulders, maybe pitch those shoulders forward a little bit. Extending that left leg straight from behind. Good. Back hip forward and down. Maybe explore airplane those arms. Pitch that chest forward. Arms by the side, palms down. Eventually, draw those arms out in front. Back leg straight and engaged, forward and down. Strength and stability. Airplane those arms again. Hands under the shoulders. Woo! Readjust integrity here. Toes pointed down. Back hip forward and down. Gently release, come into a forward fold. Gently bend the knees, swan dive up. Hands heart-centered. Coming to the back edge of the mat. I just want to share with you guys, I had fun studying that posture. And you guys inspire me tremendously. For weeks, I kind of worked at how we could learn Warrior 3, and I hope you challenged yourself and enjoyed yourself. It was exciting for me to teach that and show you guys another way to approach that movement. Here we are, the back edge of the mat. We're going to dive into the splits here, Anamanasana. Feet are about hip width apart. Inhale, draw those arms up. Exhale, we're swan diving down, making our way into our downward facing dog. Readjust ourselves here a bit. Press through those palms, draw length in the spine. Try not to just dump in. If you find yourself dumping in, I like to, when I mean dumping in, kind of dumping in too much here, this is where I say take my tailbone back and down and my pubis bone back, my pubis bone towards me helps me with this. Splits on the left side. Draw the left knee to the chest and the nose. Place the left foot next to the left hand. Here we are, runner's pose. Gently lower the right knee towards the ground. Let's open up our shoulders a little bit. Take those arms behind, interlace those fingers, and sink lower into low lunge on Anjaneyasana. Gently release. Right hand under the shoulder and extend that left arm back. So now we're going to try to clasp outer edge of that back foot. Good job, guys. Draw the heel, the right heel towards the buttocks. Good. This is where you're really opening the hip flexors. I like to actually take my fingers, I've been working on this a while, kind of draw the fingers over the toes and the elbows up. But that takes a while to get that. Wherever we are, release the quadricep. Good. The hip flexor. So many problems from those tight hip flexors. Gently release. We're framing the foot, half split. So we're going to keep that left leg extended, press through the left heel, toes up. Feel a release of the left hamstrings. Good. This is where some of us might even use the blocks to help us dive in a little bit deeper. But continue to draw the sternum and the chest forward. Eventually, the left heel kind of leads the way here. And we find our way into wherever we are, our partial splits. I can go a little bit deeper. I've been working on this. Energetically, I like to press through the top of the back foot. Draw my front hip back, my back hip forward. Wherever we are, good. Breathe into it, own it. Try to come in half an inch lower. Maybe we're in the splits, so we draw those arms up. Draw length in the spine. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, deepening. Gently release. Hands to the hips. Hands towards the ground. Come onto the ball of the back foot. Draw that left heel back. Find your way into downward facing dog. Let's do a cleansing breath here in downward facing dog. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Transition to the right side. Draw the right knee to the chest and the nose. Kind of round that upper back. Place the right foot next to the right hand. Lower the left knee towards the ground. Let's interlace those fingers and come into a low lunge. Gently release the left hand under the shoulder. Take that right arm behind. Clasp outer edge of that left foot and draw the heel towards the buttocks. Good. Eventually deepen just a little bit more so you really feel that release. Heel comes a little bit closer to the buttocks of the hip flexors. Gently release. We're going to send those hips back into half Ardha Anumanasana. Press through that right heel. Draw that sternum and the chest forward. Beautiful. Awaken those hamstrings wherever you are. I know this is such a challenging posture for many. But our inner warriors, right? We just explore and we challenge ourselves. If you're going to use the blocks, you may adjust the blocks on either side here if you're going to use those blocks. And allow that right heel to kind of lead the way wherever you are. Energetically, I can get a little bit deeper into this. I'm pressing through the top of the back foot. Drawing that front hip back, back hip forward. Making length in the spine, using the breath to take you a little bit deeper into this posture. If you're into the splits, you might even draw those arms up. Gently come out of this posture. Let's come onto the ball of the back foot. Gently lower those hands. Draw that right heel back. Engage the core to come back. Find your way into downward facing dog. Wide-legged child's pose. We're going to gently lower to the knees. Big toes are touching here. Widen those knees. We're going to send those hips back. Good, guys. Send those hips back and draw length in the spine. Just take a little bit of a breather between here. Wide-legged child's pose. The hands are shoulder width apart. We're kind of sending those hips back, energetically trying to draw the forehead towards the ground. Lightly draw the chin in just a bit to lengthen the cervical vertebrae in the neck here. I like to visualize almost the space lengthening in my spine. We're going to come out of this pose into a tabletop pose as we begin to explore flipping the dog here, a little bit of a back bend. I'm going to adjust my props here. In flipping the dog here, this is kind of known as wild thing, but we approach it in a little bit safer way, flipping the dog here. Let's adjust, walk those hands forward just a few inches. Let's find our way into downward facing dog. Just do you, kind of listen to your body here. We're gonna draw that left leg high, a one-legged dog. We're gonna bend that left leg. So kind of the hips are stacked. We're kind of having the right heel towards, the left heel towards the right buttock. Good. The hips are stacked and the hips are opening. Now we're shifting forward. So the shoulder comes over the wrist. It's almost like doing a forward plank. Now we're gonna spin that right foot. So we're coming to the outer edge of that right foot. The left leg, seeing the ball of the foot here. We're pressing through the right palm, outer edge of that right foot, and we're lifting the hips, drawing the arm over the head here, palms towards the ground, pressing through the palm, outer edge of the right foot, left ball of the foot, and lift those hips, open the chest, and open the heart. Stay here several breaths. Gently release. Come back to downward facing dog. Awesome. Big inhale, draw that right leg high, one-legged dog, bend that right leg. Good. Draw the right heel, kind of maybe towards the buttock here just a bit as we open those hips. Explore shifting forward, shoulder over the wrist. Now press outer edge, so adjust that left foot. Right foot is bent. Good. And we're pressing through outer edge of the left foot, through the left hand, ball of that right foot, draw that right arm over the head, lift those hips, open the heart. We'll stay here several breaths. Good. Gently release. Really requires strong shoulders too. Find your way into downward facing dog. Draw length. Gently lower to the knees. So beautiful. Halasana, plow pose. I'm going to take a blanket and utilize this. Let's say my neck bothers me a little bit. I might use, it doesn't, but I'm pretending some of you guys may have a little bit of a neck issue. Sometimes a little bit of a lift can help. Halasana is done at different levels. Some people are just kind of like in a lying down forward fold almost. Some people utilize a wall, a couch to help get in that position. If your neck bothers you, come out of this pose. This is a healing posture. It's an inversion. It shifts the way the blood flows to the heart. But I love it because the spine moves kind of upward and lifted. So it's just another way to move the spine. It's powerful. It actually feels good. So I have my blanket, and some of you are utilizing a wall or a couch, or you're just going to come into a half expression. And the folded edge of my mat comes in the back here, and it's protecting the lower third of my vertebrae. I like to start with my legs lifted and straight together. Arches awaken. And from here on, I press into the palms of the exhale. I want to begin lifting those hips, the pelvis off the ground. Again, lifting the pelvis off the ground. And it's okay to kind of check this out and then get back to your practice. And nothing's wrong with pausing a video and practicing. One more time, lift the pelvis off the ground. So now I'm going to do the same thing, come into this posture and explore different variations of it with the hands too. On the exhale, lifting the pelvis, drawing the legs over the head. I like to have a lot of room between my chin, okay? Try to have some space between my chin and the torso here. This is where the legs are straight together and engaged. You can keep the hands on the ground here. You can take the hands towards the hips. for support, the lower back, or interlace the fingers. It's always good to shrug those shoulders, come a bit higher on the shoulders. Press through the tops of the feet. The goal is the spine is lifted and straight, sitting bones towards the sky. Engage those quadriceps, legs straight and engaged. Find the breath. We'll stay here several breaths. Stay here a while, maybe 10 breaths. Sitting bones towards the sky, legs straight and engaged. So good for the spine. Legs straight and engaged, sitting bones towards the sky. Broaden the collarbones. Gently roll out of this posture, one vertebrae at a time. We're going to find our way. I move my blanket just directly under the head here. The head is relaxed, neck long. Draw the knees towards the chest. This is where I clasp around the shins here. And I think about kind of evenness on the left and right sides of the spine. Guide both knees. We're going to line down, spinal twist to the right. Guide both knees right on top of each other. Right hand on the left knee. Extend that left arm in line with the shoulders. Knees, hips, and feet are stacked. And the other side, come back center. Guide both knees to the left here. Knees stacked, feet on top of one another. Left hand on the right knee. Extend that right arm from the shoulder. Gaze over that right hand. Feel that release in the upper and the middle back. Gently release. Come back center. Ananda Balasana. Happy baby pose. Let's widen the knees here. Either clasp the belly of the hamstring, awaken the arches of the feet, or thread those arms inside, clasp outer edges of the feet. So here we have a hip opener and a spine lengthener. The breath here, we're thinking about drawing the knees kind of towards the shoulders on the inhale. On the exhale, tailbone towards the ground. We'll stay here 10 breaths or so. Opening those hips and lengthening the spine. Feel the tailbone coming closer towards the ground. And breathe evenly on the right and the left sides. Way to find symmetry. Breathing evenly on both sides of the body. Opening those hips and lengthening the spine. Gently release. I like to reach out for my Shavasana. And Shavasana, maybe it's different for every person here, but draw those arms out up high. Relax, one last stretch. Reach those arms out, legs straight out. Let everything go and find your way into your Shavasana. Often I like to kind of open up those palms and kind of nestle down just a bit here. Every Shavasana is different. I want you to get nice and comfortable. You earn the Shavasana and you're going to stay here a while today. Long after I turn this video off. You've earned this Shavasana, this relaxation. You are the hero of your own life story. There's going to be obstacles. You will find the purpose. You will find the meaning. There's tools, guys, for you to continue to persevere.